very first thing I typically like to go over is these things called scenes. Now, what scenes are basically, you could have many different scenes, and they could each be for a specific purpose. For a long time, I only had one scene that had multiple sources inside of it. But I'll show you how to make a second scene in a second. But right now, by default, you will have something called a scene. So what you could do is you could rename this scene, right? So what am I recording here? I'm going to do a screen capture tutorial. Let's say that's the kind of scene I want to build. Let's say if it was a gameplay, you would just name it whatever this is going to be as your scene. The second step you want to set up is the source. So let me go ahead and click on the plus sign here. These are all the different sources that you could actually add. So you could, for example, have an image that's part of your scene. You could have a video capture device, that's basically your webcam or a camera I'm using here. You could record your screen, so screen capture. I'm on a Mac here, so it says Mac OS screen capture. On older OBS, it was just called display capture. So if you have an older version of OBS, you have display capture. And you could set one of these or multiple different layers to it. So let me show you exactly how this works. I'm going to do a video cam device. That's going to be the webcam that's going to kick on. And you could name any one of these. So this is going to be my iMac screen. So I'm going to name it iMac. I'll press OK. And then you're going to get this window. So you want to choose your device. So the FaceTime HD camera, if you have a built-in webcam or an external webcam or an external camera, you'll see that on the list as long as it's connected onto your computer. So choose that. And I'll switch over here to my webcam to walk you through the rest of it. This is just a built-in webcam on my computer. For preset, you want to choose high here. So I'm going to leave it on high, but you can actually lower it to some of these other options like 720p. I recommend you just leave this the same and press OK. So now you basically have a scene that looks like this. Now it has some black parts to it, so if you record our screen, it's not going to look right. So you want to grab the corner here and basically stretch this out to fill your window. Do the same thing with your webcam if you're choosing a webcam. Now, if you look down here, I haven't added a new scene. This is just a scene that was there by default. But I do have a video capture device. I could always turn this off and on this way. Okay. Now, let me show you how to add another source. So I'm going to press the plus sign. And this time, I'm going to capture my screen as well. So this is a tutorial. So I'm going to talk. I'm going to capture my screen. I record a lot of tutorials this way. If I capture the screen, this is fine. I'm going to press OK. It's going to add another source. Now, my method is display capture. You could also do individual windows or applications. I'm going to just capture the whole screen here. And it's going to be the built-in display resolution. And you could show the cursor or not. I always choose to show it if I'm doing some kind of demonstration. And I can press OK right over here. Now, if it doesn't quite fit, sometimes it's going to be much, much bigger like this. You need to kind of drag in the corners here and make sure it fits this canvas. So these red lines are going to show you that is going to fit the canvas like this. So now I'm behind here. So if I turn off the capture, I'm behind it. This is on top of it. So if I wanted to put myself on top, I could grab myself and put it on the top here. So it becomes a top layer like this. Now the screen is behind me. The useful thing when you do that is you could do this thing called picture-in-picture. So you can shrink yourself down. You can put yourself right in the corner. It has this weird picture-in-picture effect because of the way I'm capturing the screen. But I could just turn this off right over here. So you get the idea. Basically, that screen is going to show up in the background. Right now, OBS is open, so that's what it's showing. And I'm here in the corner. So this is a useful double. A lot of tutorials, for example, gameplays, will utilize an option like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn myself off too, because I want to show you audio mixer here. Now, with audio mixer, you're going to have a couple of different options. You could go ahead and press the three dots here and go to properties. So the device here is the built-in microphone by default. This is one thing I recommend if you're doing this for any reason that is beyond just a hobby. Even if you're doing gameplays, you could get these USB microphones. The one you hear right now is this one, Shure MV7. It's the one that you see on my screen capture. Let me just show you what it looks like. It's basically this kind of a USB mic, and it's just plugged in. It also has XLR and USB, so you can go to a sound mixer but this one's going directly to my computer now. So you could have something like that as your input. That's where you would change it under properties. Because the built-in microphone on any computer just doesn't sound that great. So I recommend you check that out, and I'll link that below. You can get it from Amazon. So I would set that up next, and I'll show you some more audio settings once we get to the setting tab here. The scene transition, we're going to skip right now because I want to show you scenes towards the end. Right now, we just could handle one scene with multiple different sources and fixing our audio. And then we could actually start streaming or start recording to our local computer here. Okay, so that was the basics of setting up multiple sources inside a scene, but we do have some settings. So I'll cover settings, then we'll come back and cover scenes, and then I'll show you studio mode and some really advanced options that's gonna really take this to the next level. Okay, so let's go to the settings tab right here. Now, inside of settings, the general tab, you pretty much don't need to change anything. I usually leave everything here on default. The only thing is if you're streaming, you could get a confirmation box when you stop streaming so it doesn't happen by accident. And you could get a confirmation box when the recording stops too. I usually have just this one if I'm streaming. I don't want to accidentally turn that off. Same with starting a stream too. You may want to turn it on. But under the stream tab here, this is very important because if you're streaming, you need to decide what platform obviously you're going to stream to. Typically, I would do this to YouTube, but Twitch, Facebook, and if you show all, you'll see all these other platforms you can stream to as well. Okay, so I'll do YouTube because then I can show you exactly how it works. But if you were doing something like a Twitch, you could just connect your account here, and then they all require this thing called the stream key that I'll show you where to find. And it's really easy to find. I'll show you here on YouTube. So we'll do this once we get to the streaming section. Right now, the output is also very important. This is related to streaming and recording. Let's see what's going on here. They do have advanced options that I don't recommend